Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the 2014 Peter J. Salmon and Milton J. Samuelson Employee of the Year Award nominees.
In 1968, on the 30th anniversary of the Wagner-O'Day Act, the NIB Board of Directors created the Peter J. Salmon Employee of the Year Award to honor those employees who excel in their positions at NIB-associated agencies. Named after the late Dr. Peter J. Salmon, who was instrumental in advocating passage of the Wagner-O'Day Act of 1938 and the subsequent formation of NIB, this award recognizes the outstanding work ethic and achievements of the people we serve. Janisha Alexander, Mississippi Industries for the Blind.
Jacqueline Arby, Louisiana Association for the Blind.
Elsie Benson, Lighthouse Works.
Edward Blakely, Industries of the Blind, Greensboro.
Johnny Botsford, Outlook, Nebraska.
The most exciting part about working here at Outlook, Nebraska is knowing that the job that I'm doing today is going to help give somebody else an opportunity someday in the future. I myself have been low vision for 8 years now, and the love and support of my family and coworkers is what helped me overcome many obstacles in my life.
Teresa Chase, RLCB.
Martha Curtis, Delaware Industries for the Blind.
James Dietz, Columbia Lighthouse for the Blind.
Michael Douglas, Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired, Goodwill.
I am truly honored to and blessed and grateful to think that my managers and my employees, fellow employees, would think of me so highly. I'm just truly grateful to know that I've been honored in this way.
Mark Evans, Northeastern Association for the Blind at Albany.
Wilmer Fleming, Best Work Industries for the Blind.
Santiago Flores, San Antonio Lighthouse for the Blind.
My co-workers, staff, it's like a family here at the San Antonio Lighthouse for the Blind. With a can-do attitude, I feel there's nothing out there that I can't do.
Brenda Gaines, the Chicago Lighthouse for people who are blind or visually impaired.
Joseph Godwin, Virginia Industries for the Blind.
Gail Hardy, Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Carmelita Harville, Clovernook Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
What I enjoy most about working as a part-time Clovernook receptionist is simply knowing how much of a difference my job makes. It is a great honor to be chosen as an Employee of the Year nominee.
Mario Hernandez, Tarrant County Association for the Blind.
Robert Hoxema, Midwest Enterprises for the Blind.
I enjoy doing my job because I can work at my own speed and provide income for my family. I do not let my vision impairment get in my way of the things I want to do. I am proud to be the Employee of the Year nominee.
Salvador Huizar, the Lighthouse for the Blind, Seattle.
Mary Kiba, Dallas Lighthouse for the Blind.
I have received several awards, but nothing like this. It's an honor. The biggest obstacle was accepting my blindness, and due to the assistance of DBA and the Dallas Lighthouse for the Blind, my family and friends, I accepted and adjusted. Now life is wonderful.
Michelle Lacombe, Association for Vision Rehabilitation and Employment.
Michael Lundy, Bosma Enterprises.
I get along with everybody. I come to work with a smile on my face. Getting on my bus independently, it feels good, it feels wonderful.
James Martin, Arkansas Lighthouse for the Blind.
Emmett McAdams, the Lighthouse for the Blind in New Orleans.
John McCarthy, West Texas Lighthouse for the Blind.
Rick Medina, Arizona Industries for the Blind.
Angela Meredith, Blind Industries and Services of Maryland.
Dennis Mills, Lions Services.
Christine Mize, Associated Industries for the Blind.
Frankie Monegro, Alpha Point.
Dolores Muhammad, the Lighthouse for the Blind, St. Louis.
Darby Obats, North Central Site Services.
Linda Parks, Volunteer Blind Industries.
Wendell Ragland, Lions Industries for the Blind.
Robert Kenny Reynolds Jr., Beacon Lighthouse.
Catherine Shearlow, Cincinnati Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
James Scott Jr., South Texas Lighthouse for the Blind.
Donald Siebert, Envision.
Felicia Smith, Alpha Point.
Robin Smith, Blind and Vision Rehabilitation Services of Pittsburgh.
Rose Smith, Georgia Industries for the Blind.
Jessica Sokash, New View, Oklahoma.
Andy Stender, Vision Corps.
Michael Stokes, Winston-Salem Industries for the Blind.
James Tess, Beyond Vision.
Jason Toole, East Texas Lighthouse for the Blind.
Roy Torres, Travis Association for the Blind.
Robert Tubbs, Alabama Industries for the Blind.
Kathleen Walters, Industries for the Blind, West Dallas.
And Arthur Wedge, Keystone Vocational Services. In 1996, the NIB Board of Directors established the Milton J. Samuelson Career Achievement Award. This award is presented to an individual who demonstrates career advancement at an NIB-associated agency or in the private sector. The late Milton J. Samuelson, former NIB board member and past executive director of the Chicago Lighthouse for People Who Are Blind or Visually Impaired, was a leader in the blindness field and an advocate for upward mobility and placement programs benefiting people who are blind. Alan Adamson, West Texas Lighthouse for the Blind.
Angel Broussard, Northeastern Association of the Blind at Albany.
Steve Britton, North Central Site Services.
Lee Davis, RLCB.
Megan Dodd, East Texas Lighthouse for the Blind.
Mike Edwards, the Lighthouse for the Blind, St. Louis.
Olnick Gassant, Alpha Point.
Laverne Goodridge, Industries of the Blind, Greensboro.
Teresa Houston, Envision.
Paul Ilgen, Vision Corps.
Just constantly challenging myself. I know in my head that the most we've ever shipped from the Lebanon locations, 40 orders. I'm always trying to exceed that. I'm an extension of my people, and I feel humble that I'm being recognized.
Stephanie Jones, Clovernook Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
The only reason I've overcome anything is because God's pulled me through it. That and the fact that I have a really great support system. I have my husband, my children, my co-workers. In Clovernook's where I got my rehab, so I learned those first steps of how to take back my independence and how to resume my life or relive my life.
Stephen Masters, New View, Oklahoma.
Glenn McCulley, The Lighthouse for the Blind, Seattle.
Christy Myvet, the Chicago Lighthouse for People Who Are Blind or Visually Impaired.
John Roberts, Georgia Industries for the Blind.
Teresa Santana, Lighthouse for the Visually Impaired and Blind.
Charles Shavers, Travis Association for the Blind.
Travis Smith, the Lighthouse for the Blind in New Orleans.
Brad Snyder, Dallas Lighthouse for the Blind.
Diane Spantico, Industries for the Blind, West Dallas.
Joe Spicer, Mississippi Industries for the Blind.
Keith Tyson, Blind Industries and Services of Maryland.
Sheila Waits, Alabama Industries for the Blind.
Kimberly West, Winston-Salem Industries for the Blind.
Being the receptionist, my favorite part of working here is being able to make people smile when they come in and when they leave. A lot of them have lost a lot of their hope and a lot of their vision, and they're not sure what they're going to do with their life, and they come in and they go for the interviews, and then they come out and I see them socializing with the friends that they've made here and the jobs that they have here. That's pretty exciting stuff.
Melvin Wright, Delaware Industries for the Blind.
And Raymond Zielinski, Olmsted Center for Sight.
Congratulations to the 2014 Employee of the Year Awards nominees.